My name is Venkat Iyer, and I'm the editor of the Roundtable. I'm very pleased to have the former president of the Maldives, Mr. Mohamed Nasheed, talk to us on a wide range of issues. Mr. Nasheed, could you tell us something about the circumstances of your ouster as president? One of the points that is repeatedly made, not least by your critics, is that both the United Nations and the Commonwealth endorsed the findings of what they call an independent inquiry that you voluntarily resigned as president in 2012 and were not forced to step down. How do you respond to that criticism?
The Commonwealth National Inquiry, Commission of National Inquiry, found that the transfer of power was legal. It didn't find that the transfer of power was voluntary. It found that the transfer was legal. And including the Commonwealth, we agreed as well. There were many reasons why we finally endorsed that ruling and that outcome. As for why and how the circumstances of the transfer of power, was it legal or illegal? Now, the Commonwealth, of course, endorsed it as legal. But this was the first televised coup in the Maldives. And anyone who saw TV that day would call the Commonwealth blind because it was so obvious and it was there to be seen. And then the question is, why did we then endorse it? Why did I agree to the Commonwealth findings? The Commonwealth findings found not only to endorse or not only to legitimize the transfer of power, but also it mentioned addressing judicial reforms, reforms within the National Security Services, the Elections Commission, and a whole host of other reforms that we've been very much looking for. And that there will be a free and fair election during 2013. So this was 2012. The Commission of National Inquiry, the commission took about 6 months. So by the time the commission report came out, the actual elections, the natural election cycle was just around the corner. So we thought it would be in the best interest now not to reinstate our old government, but to seek a free and fair election with a reformed judiciary, with a reformed military and police, with wide-ranging other reforms. But of course, only the sections on transfer of power was accepted by the government of Maldives. But this was a document signed by all sides. But all the other issues were just completely neglected. It's very unfortunate. And because that this has happened, this has led to further difficulties down the line. And we had 5 rounds of elections in 2013. Every single round, all the 4 rounds I won. But in the 5th round, so they had elections as many elections as it took them to win. And the Supreme Court were on their side, nullifying any other election that was in our favor. So that also went along. Now, why was I forced to resign? How did that happen? In my view, it's possible to topple a dictator, but it's very, very difficult to uproot a dictatorship. After 30 years of single-party rule in the Maldives, the regime of President Gayoom has found his practices were embedded within institutions in the Maldives. So although you had the president changing, nothing else did, and the old regime came back. They joined up with the renegade elements within the military and the police and the judiciary and forced our government out. The Commonwealth went into an inquiry. The inquiry found the transfer of power was legitimate. And it's very short-sighted that they did that, because if we still believe that that transfer of power in 2012 was legitimate, now does that mean that similar transfers, induced transfers, would be legitimate? I don't think so. And I don't think any minister in the Commonwealth, any of the Commonwealth countries, would think along the same lines either.
Are you disappointed with the way the Commonwealth Ministerial Action Group has recently dealt with the Maldives?
The Commonwealth Ministerial Action Group has always been the Ministerial Inaction Group. Their idea is to find a way of not acting. Bringing the Maldives to the agenda basically means, okay, we parked it. If the Commonwealth is to succeed, and it has so many opportunities, it must be more proactive. When we were in government, I think both in Barbados, Caribbeans, and in Australia, we argued that countries must be in the CMAG official agenda, not because they've done something wrong, but because they need more attention. That they have to overcome these situations. Commonwealth is a government's club, but governments are from the people. So the Secretariat must understand that this is a people's club. It's not dependent on what the foreign minister of a government says. It can't be. And you know, foreign ministers have other interests, other bilateral interests. The whole reason why we've joined the Commonwealth is because we believe in certain principles. Members can join this club only and only when they accept those principles. Basic human rights, good governance, anti-corruption, separation of powers, local governance, civil society, political parties, free and fair elections. These basic infrastructure required for democracy to function. We've joined the club because we believe in it. We accept that. So I think there's a lot of work that the Ministerial Action Group needs doing, and there's a lot of work that the Secretariat needs doing.
Do you think the ambition of carbon neutral economy for the Maldives is being undermined by the Yamin government?
Well, in Paris, they declared that they're going to increase carbon emission by 300%. Of course, what the Maldives does is not going to save the world, but you must have the moral, you must be able to capture the moral high ground in climate change issues. That's the only way that the Maldives can lead in it. So the Maldives, what we want to do is to say, look, if it can be done here, it can be done anywhere. President Yamin has decided to drill for oil. He also has decided to embark on every single fossil fuel project possible. A rampage on it. Yes, it has just completely killed the carbon neutral policies that we were having. I would still like to advocate, I'm still looking for a town. Okay, the Maldives is lost. But I am looking for this town of 50,000 people who would become the first carbon neutral town or city. And you know, maybe this town is there in Sri Lanka, it's there in India, in Bangladesh, or in Africa, Nigeria, anywhere. But in my view, this is a pledge. If made by a political party, the people are going to buy it, you're going to get votes for it, and you can make it successful. You can have tangible projects, financially viable projects on climate change. And you can have people who are willing to use market mechanism and fund it. And it's so sad and unfortunate that we've lost that opportunity.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Thank you.